Yeah, that's right, because we got a review. We're reviewing The Green Mountain Kids by Matthew Pierce. This was the final book that we finished for our booktube-a-thon. This is not going well! This was sent to us for a review by Matthew himself. This is part of a series. The next book that's coming out relatively soonish.
January.
Roughly. Is called The Green Mountain Winter. This is a dystopian book, and I know a lot of you are like, oh my god, another dystopian, but...
Not your average dystopian.
This is a little different because it is actually extremely reasonable. The year is 2050, so it's not actually that far ahead.
We'll be alive.
But it was realistic enough that it kind of freaked Leslie out, because what happens is what you could totally believe happening to the US, with the dollar basically plunging.
Dollar crumbles. This entire federal United States decides to give all money printing, taxing, and governing rights back to the states. So we're basically back to the Articles of Confederation, which we all know failed.
There's a lot of people who are just really depressed because everything turned down. The inflation is all over the place. You know, you wake up one day and gas is $2 higher than it was. And China kind of came in, did some stuff on the West Coast.
China basically owns California.
Yeah, and then they were like, you know, you guys suck. Like, this isn't even worth our time anymore. And then people on the West Coast were begging them to stay, to help with produce things and keep the economy running. The entire situation
is bad.
And it's kind of scary because I could see this happening.
It's not like there are bombs going off everywhere.
Yeah.
But people are just quiet.
Yeah.
And depressed and unhappy and
it's like they're waiting for the apocalypse that will never happen.
Everyone sort of just shuts themselves in their house and waits for the sky to fall.
These kids are in the end of their high school career, so they're like seniors in high school. There's a couple
sophomores,
got junior and a sophomore as well, but mostly seniors, and they are special because something happened to them where they have these powers, and I'm not talking like big, beautiful invisibility, being able to fly.
Walls.
Yeah, they're not really amazing powers. They don't really know what to do with them, and they don't know why they have them, but ever since about puberty, they've been getting horrible headaches, and then they also have these abilities, like the ability to kind of make somebody forget what happened for the last, like, 5 minutes. And obviously, you would expect that if they worked on their powers, they would become better, but there's powers like a kind of an electric static power. There's somebody who can make people throw up all over the place. It gets messy. Like, these powers are by no means spectacular.
One of them can't feel pain, however, which is very interesting.
And also a medical condition. His name is Reese. He's what we would consider the main character. There's also Calypso and, you know, Rory and Martin and Duggan. They all have Ginny. They all have interesting names, and they all have something about them that makes them so they all hang out together. They hang out together because this organization called the Black Suits is going to come for them, and they know they're going to come for them soon because they have these powers.
And the Black Suits are just sort of ex-federal agents. They used to work for the federal government of the US, but they don't any longer. And every January they come and they take these special kids away, and they run tests on them while they knock them out, and then put them back on a bus and bring them back to their school. The majority of the book is really just them coping with their lives, and it's a bit of an explanation about how the sorrow and their powers affect each of them and their interpersonal relationships.
Lack of parental units.
Yeah, they're not waiting for the axe to fall, really, because they don't realize the axe is about to fall.
But at the same time, they know that once they graduate high school, there's really not many prospects for them. So it's kind of depressing.
They're just surviving at this point.
Like we said, we definitely find this situation possible, relatable. These characters are in high school, so... You know, we've been there. We felt that. We know what that's like.
None of us have been teenage boys.
But there's a good variation of characters. There's diversity in their home lives and who they are as people. That being said, we figured out who the girl on this cover is. This character named Calypso. That's Calypso. The problem I have is that
this doesn't look like Calypso in the least.
Calypso is described as looking Puerto Rican with dark hair. This girl has brown hair and is white. That is not a slight on the model. Like, this is not about her. It's just the fact that the character that she is portraying, and she's on the cover, looks absolutely nothing like the character described in the book.
In addition to that, we really found the main character of the book to be Reese and not Calypso.
Yeah.
Calypso did get a serious amount of attention in more ways than one, but at the same time, I don't think that amount of attention necessitates her being on the cover.
Yeah.
Reese might have been another option. A group of kids might have been another option. A group of kids looking fondly into the distance might have been another option.
Another thing that we do want to bring up is the fact that this definitely has a lot of more mature YA content.
Oh, yes.
They definitely still do the fade to black thing when characters are hooking up, but there's other things that are described in great detail. One of the characters has been labeled a slut, and so you do follow her and why she's called a slut, and so there's definitely some more mature content there, and
in association with her specific power.
Yeah, and it's definitely like, you read it and you feel a little disturbed. You feel a little gross sometimes when you're reading about what their powers can cause people to do. Most of the book is from the kid's point of view, but you do occasionally get to look at the agent's point of view or sort of follow somebody else who isn't a kid.
Nowhere does any of their parents ever step up and say, this is what's going on in my life and this is what's happening with my children. The book really isn't divided into chapters, I wouldn't say. There are just different parts of different lengths that are labeled with titles, which I guess is the definition of a chapter, but didn't feel like it, considering that there are chapter divisions probably on every other page. That was confusing. There are so many points of view going on in each segment that I eventually just stopped paying attention to what might have been chapter titles.
I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars.
I went 2.5.
There's definitely room for improvement, and I really hope that the next book improves on certain things, especially relating the cover more to what's going on in the story and possibly working out some kinks with flow in the writing style. There was some moments where things were written really beautifully and then all of a sudden there'd be a sentence and it just did not fit, and it was really jarring, like to the point where I had to stop reading and be like, ugh, please, like this does not sound good together. So I'm really hoping those will be fixed with the next book.
Additionally, the format in which the entire plot was presented also became a bit confusing. You have all of these perspectives jumping back and forth, and you have recounts that are from like the narrator kind of point of view, and then you have kids' points of view, and it doesn't seem to really have any sense of continuity.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Links in the doobly-doo. Bye!